Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for being here, taking your time. Everyone is very busy with work and family and wonderful community commitments, so we just really appreciate y'all being here with us and with each other. So I'm going to get started on our last session, and it's going to be your most inspirational. No offense to the other folks, although we've had really, really good speakers. Yeah, I wrote something down because I need to read this. But hi, I'm Meg Stevenson, she, her pronouns. I'm the communication director at North Sound ACH, and I'm a storyteller. One of my favorite things about my job is to elevate the stories of our region. And we are partnering with some of the most amazing filmmakers in our region in order to uplift the stories, experiences, and impact of you, our partners, as well as support these creative producers. We're going to see one clip from a film in progress, Media for Development International with Burn the Box, and they'll show a clip of one of our partner films that's currently in production, Corazon, about the collaboration project between Bellingham Food Bank, Northwest Agricultural Business Center, and Refugee and Immigrant Services Northwest. These are part of our portfolio of North Sound Voices, our media channel to bring experiences, ideas, and solutions from across the North Sound region to you. When we can listen to, see, and learn from each other, we can do more than we could ever do alone. We're going to play these films back to back, and then we're going to invite our filmmakers and guests up on the stage for a little Q&A. Enjoy.
All food systems start with the soil, right? And so if we're looking to build a more just or a more sovereign system, we, as a food bank, really need sources of fresh local food. Traditional food bank models are based off of what you can get for as low cost as possible. It's not going to be maybe culturally relevant or even nutritious food. It's going to be what was left over.
Te sientes bien giving something, pero tú no sabes si eso va a ser realmente intencional para una familia que a lo mejor viene de Guatemala, ¿verdad?
Farming is extremely difficult with race and other social dynamics as a consideration. Latinx farmers have those hardships compounded even more.
Pues no tenemos suficiente tierra o no hay suficiente tierra como para seguir plantando.
Para mí el primer año era bien difícil y todo eso estaba ahí como matándome.
Yes, we experience hardships, but that doesn't hold them back.
We really need a whole new model of food banking focused on what is the community need. So that's really the spirit of this project.
Oh, mi hija me enseñó eso hace como 3 años. No sé dónde aprendió ella. Dice que tienes que hablarle bien bonita a las plantas, con cariño. Sí.
Well, thank you so much also for joining us. So first, I want to get started with introductions. So if we can start down at that end, if y'all can just share name and company or your affiliation with the projects that we just saw.
Hi. Yes, it works. Hi, I'm Hea. I'm working with Burn the Box Productions. We did the Corazon film.
Hey, I'm Corin. I'm also with Burn the Box, and yeah, part of the Corazon film as well.
I'm Liam, and part of Burn the Box. This is the director of photography. I'm the editor, and this is the director.
Hi, my name is Will. I'm the director of Corazon, and Hea is our assistant director as well. So,
I'm Remy. I made Fascia, a team of one, well, team of two, because it's about Quiniqua. But yeah, everything from the storyboard to the final product.
I'm Quiniqua, or Chemistry as my artist name. Chemistry is my artist name, as some of you know. And I use she, her pronouns. I am North Sound ACH's writer in residence.
Hello, I'm Jordan Reaper. I'm a filmmaker. I work with Children of the Setting Sun Productions, obviously in the production department. And I was part of a team that put together the Westshore film.
Good afternoon. My name is Anton George. I come up here as a subject today.
So I'm going to start out with a question, but then honestly I'd like to open it up to all of you. So we'll have some mics ready, and I have some backup questions in case you're quiet, but I have a feeling that you won't be. So, and this is just for anyone to answer as they feel called. So again, appreciate you sharing the mic, and I can pass mine too. But so we've called this session Social Impact Films. What does that mean for you and your work?
I mean, I have the mic. I'll start. Social impact films. I mean, I think, well, from my perspective, storytelling is the fabric that ties us together as people. Always has, always will. I'm not sure if that's recognized in today's time here and here in this place. And certainly hope that we can, I think we're part of a movement towards that recognition as social impact filmmakers. And I think stories make us who we are as people. So whether it's good or bad, stories are impactful. I think we are, as social impact filmmakers, trying to make the world a better place, and there's a lot of work to do, and storytelling is just part of that. It has to be.
I can go. So for me, you noticed I talked a lot about love in my poetry and in the documentary. For me, I hope the social impact that I have is that people are willing to do that internal reflection, to see their proximity to love, see their appreciation for love or lack thereof, and begin to navigate some of those big emotions that may be challenging us to explore loving more or correct the harm that we've done to the people we love. And I hope that my film that Remy did kind of brings that up for folks. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me is realizing that, and I've talked about this before, but realizing that Black and brown bodies don't always make it home, but our stories always do. And from like very personal experience, I feel like my role in social impact and change is to not highlight what's going wrong, but to highlight what's going right and the human side of things. And really elevate truth, because when we speak truth, nothing bad can really happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that with our work right now, we've been working on this film that is covering what is a pretty heady and complicated research project by a bunch of different organizations around here. And so, like, when I think about our work in terms of social impact, I think a lot about, like, us as filmmakers being able to translate the work of, you know, people in the field who are doing this super important stuff, and being able to just translate that to an audience, and that like being a skill that we can use and help to support people in the field. And so like with our work on this film especially, I've just recognized myself as kind of a vessel to promote more collaboration and promote certain missions. And so it's been a process of really like trying to think of impacts and like what the film itself will actually accomplish at the end of the day in a physical sense. And so yeah.
I'm just going to be brief. I personally feel lucky to be working on a project that feels meaningful and that hopefully reaches as many people as possible and just spreads the awareness that there are people, like Remy said, there are things going right. There are people actively working, like all of you in this room, to fix things that just glaring problems in the system.
Okay. Yeah, I think something very important, and it is something that I think everyone in this room can agree with me, is that we as a society have a lot of things that can change. We evolve as human beings and evolve as social creatures. And there are little groups, different individuals of different races, different backgrounds, that all have different needs. And I think something especially highlighted by these films are ways that we as human beings can showcase these needs, the ways to change them, and the ways that we are actively contributing to make this, hey, we are here, this is what's happening, this is what's beautiful of it, and this is what could change.
Thank you. Yeah, do you want to add anything?
I just want to, really give thanks to be a part of the Westshore film, and it started out kind of as an interview type thing, but then it got deeper into how we are as people, indigenous people, throughout my life. I grew up in our Coast Salish longhouse. And that's the way our elders, our old people, they taught us. It was in that longhouse setting. And, this impact films, it helps bring that to maybe ones that didn't grow up the way I did. And, I really, put my hands up to each and every one of these directors up here that are doing that work. It's something that, I've grown to love throughout my life, is just sharing with the younger generation, with the youth, and giving them that chance to, be who they are and be comfortable with who they are. So I want to, thank all of you for, doing this, and thanking Jordan and all the ones that got today together.
Thank you. Anybody else got a question? Marco's got a microphone for you. I can do another one to inspire you. Okay. I'll do this one. What is the most difficult part of a film project, and what's the most fun?
I'm actually not a film guy. I'm just a part of a film, but I think, the finished product, I think, is the funnest part. Then you can see everything that you put into it, like these guys up here, the passion, the care that they have for it, and to make sure that, endless hours of editing and all that, it's got to be something that they all love to do. And, Fascia.
Oh boy, what's the most difficult part? Oh, the whole middle section, I think. Like all the work that goes in between the idea and the end product is really challenging. I mean, especially there's different types of films, and I'm lucky to have been involved in a lot of different formats. You know, scripted narrative film where you write a script and then you get actors together and they say the lines and you put it together, and then documentary film like this where you're just kind of going with the flow, and and both are kind of equally difficult. They have their own challenges and I think their own different types of potential impact. So yeah, I mean, the fun part is, gosh, is there a fun part? I mean, I love it all. I say I love it all. But it's like we're artists, and we're never quite done with our projects, are we, Remy? Like, we're just like there's always something that could change. So anyway, we love filmmaking.
The most challenging part for me was answering the questions in a way where others could understand what I was trying to say, and realizing after the fact that there were some things I missed, things that I didn't say, things that were really important to me that I missed out on because of the pressure of the moment. But what was fun was finally being able to tell my story and knowing that my voice is important. I really enjoyed feeling like I could be authentically myself in the film and talk about love, which is really, really important to me.
I think for me, the most difficult part and also the most fun part is letting the film go. So, like, the minute the export finishes, and it's because it's like, I know that I've done something and I've created something that I love and I've sat with and spent time with. And it's also this like really hard space because the beauty of what we just created exists in the context of harm that's been done. So it's like this critical reflection piece of when I export that film, there's like a period of reliving the conditions that created what we just created. But I can't complain. Another really difficult thing is like when I forget to press record, or like, or just like make an excuse, like, let's just do one more take for safety. We didn't get that yet. But no, I truly love all parts of it.
I think that anyone up here can attest to the fact that filmmaking is a rather unhealthy habit to have, especially long term. You're editing for sleepless nights and shooting 14, 18 hours sometimes, and so it's difficult. It's all really difficult often, especially like when you're in the throe of it and you've got these deadlines to make, and you just have to move things forward. And I think that, like, I find a lot of it quite difficult, a lot of the work that I do quite difficult, but I also find that, super valuable. I think the most valuable moment for me comes when you can kind of like, there's a moment maybe when you're editing or maybe when you're shooting, when you can like see the piece in a way that you never saw it before. Like, it becomes physical to you, and you realize that it wasn't physical to you before, but all of a sudden it's there. And that's always the moment that I'm looking for, Scorsese says that film is a serious business, and I believe in that. But yeah, those are some of my thoughts.
I would agree with Jordan on the middle part's tough. As the editor, like, it's just the long hours of like, there's a story in here somewhere, and that's also so fascinating because it's a series of eureka moments where it's just like, oh yes, wait, that clip that I didn't think would work, that would fit right here, and da-da-da-da-da-da. But I think the most fun part for me personally is when I can, like Remy said, export it, but then show it to people, friends, just like people that I love, and sit in a room and watch their faces and see their reactions to certain parts, just to gauge how things land, and where, if the emotional beats are hitting. It's sort of analytical, but I enjoy that. Like, you know, film is emotion, so that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I think what I really love about the whole process and what has allowed me to just like pursue filmmaking as a career is just like making this film with some of my best friends and being able to just like come to set every day, come to the edit every day, and just like know I'm surrounded by people that care about this project just as much as me, and that they have all of our best intentions at heart, because you know I choose the people that I'm surrounded by, and I'm very lucky to have some really talented people around me, and people that care about the work that we want to do, and just this project and being able to work on it in the way that we have. It's been, again, like many difficulties and so many different trials of trying to get through just gaps and just like trying to make it through. But at the end of the day, it's just like once you get the premiere at events like this, and again, like what Liam was saying, just like show it off to other people and just be able to see the reaction to it. It's like, okay, I've done something right. So, yeah.
I think for me, the worst part about it can be how intrinsically personal it can be, and you can take it. Sometimes when you're on set, it's like, oh, it's fine. I don't need lunch. I just really want the shot. It's fine. Oh, editing, it's 3 a.m., but like I really want to do it. I want it to be perfect. But at the same time, that's the best part of the project, because it's so personal that you can put so much of you into the project that you make. And then you can look back at it and be like, yeah, I had that idea. I remember when it was 6 months ago that me and my friends were sitting down being like, oh, what if we do this? And it looks awesome, you know? Or, for example, for those who don't speak Spanish, the title of the film, Pal Corazon, means for the heart. Because our film focuses so much in food and the being culturally relevant food. Me, for example, as a Mexican with, you know, Spanish-speaking background, I have a lot of aunts and, you know, my grandma who's like, oh, are you having a bad day? Have some food for the soul, pal corazón. They just feed you and feed you and feed you. And that's part of, you know, that is the heart that I put into the project, and I think we all put into a project, even though we have very different backgrounds. And it's like, it's so personal to us. It's so bad that it was so personal, but it's so good that it was so personal. It's a love-hate relationship, but, you know, we're here for a reason.
Those were spectacular. Thank you, all of you. My question is for Jordan and Noelani. Jordan, I'm always in awe of your work. I'm a huge fan of your work, and I never see you in it. One of the questions that I've had for a couple years now was, who is this guy, you know? And I've been in your home with you and your lovely wife, and even like your space in your home, it's welcoming, it's inclusive. I felt safe. You understand communication through different means besides speaking. So my question for you is, how do you engage cross-culturally without appropriating, how do you figure out what your boundary is when you're a director and you want to say more of this, less of that, but understanding that these are real people? And my question for Noelani, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, please forgive me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Noelani's not with us today.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry. The gentleman next to you.
Anton.
Anton, thank you. My question for you is, how do you bring outsiders into your community in a way that makes your community still feel able to embody themselves authentically? Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, it's a difficult question. So I think that, you know, a lot of me comes from my father, who's sitting over there, and is also a filmmaker, who, you know, I think our background is a little bit different because we didn't grow up here in the States, like me or my dad didn't grow up here in the States. He grew up in India and lived there for pretty much his entire life. And then I grew up in Africa, in Zimbabwe and Tanzania. And so I've always existed in cross-cultural spaces. When I moved to America, it was the first time that I was, like everyone around me looked like me, you know, and it's a really weird moment in my life. I'm still coming to terms with it. You know, it's been I've been here about 5 years now. But I kind of worked a little bit in the sort of commercial world, you know, ad agencies in Seattle and stuff like that, and I found it void of soul, like something wasn't working there for me. It was just so how do I approach my work in a non-intrusive and in a non-intrusive way? Well, I mean, I think that listening's at the heart of it, and being in community, you know, being beyond just the work aspect of it. It's more of like building a community. I was so fortunate to find Children of the Setting Sun, you know, after spending a couple of years at like these horrible, you know, void spaces, because Daryl Hilaire, the executive director there, has created a great cross-cultural space, you know, and I think that that's really necessary, you know, to sort of recognize that this is a cross-cultural space. It kind of empowers everyone in the room to be able to be who they are. And what happens is a lot of bridge building, not only within our Children of the Setting Sun as an office, but also the films and stories that get told. I think they end up that way in spirit. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I look forward to you coming back to our house someday. Yeah.
I really think that, you know, this goes back before my time of cross culture for making people feel welcome. You know, it was, I believe, you know, things like that are taught at home. You know, you learn how to be hospitable, you learn how to be, to have manners towards others. And, you know, some of us were raised in a time where Ferndale School District wasn't too friendly with us natives. You know, the feeling of prejudiceness and things that we grew up with and wanted our children to have a better place, you know, to maybe not grow up and feel the things we felt, you know, and, you know, those memories and those feelings are still, you know, really almost like still on the surface yet. And to be able to make somebody feel welcome is, you know, it's a good thing. You know, our Westshore Canoe Family, we're intertribal. And we always say, you know, as long as you come and be with us with a good heart and a good mind and good intentions, then you're always welcome with us. No matter where you're from, your heritage, you know, we just welcome everybody that way because, you know, there's no one better than the other. We all walk the same ground. We all breathe the same air. So, yeah, thank you.
Hi, everyone. First, I just want to say how powerful all those films were. That was amazing, and in particular, the Westshore film was really inspiring. And Anton, you've inspired so many people in our Coast Salish community, including myself, so I wanted to raise my hands to you. And then my question was that one of you said that that your work is to talk about other people's work, which is really humble. But I'm wondering what impact have any of you seen from your films itself? Because you do amazing work more than just being the messenger. So that's my question: is what impact have you seen?
I think in my films is the first place I usually see like a good sign of the impact is when I send over the first draft of the storyboard. And something I really value in my process is getting creative with questions and making sure I'm asking questions that always center the person in the work. And so the impact is like, I want questions and I want this film to make sure that not only that you are seen, but you feel seen. And so I've gotten some feedback, and then just like talking with people that I've done films with is like, they are able to see themselves in a different light. And I think that's the most important because everything starts with the self. And then at my day job at Northwest Youth Services, I oversee all of our art-based services, and I have currently 3 students right now doing photography. And we actually have 2 weeks left in the class, and it went from everybody being really shy and sort of just like not really knowing how they see themselves in this course to them, like all 3 of them came into class on Tuesday and said, "Hey, Remy, I just ordered my first camera. Like, I just ordered everything to go and do what I've just been taught in this class." And it's like that first sign that they see themselves doing something that's rooted in passion rather than like surviving. So that's the impact.
Yeah, I think that Remy, you're really right about that kind of element that film is about, like seeing ourselves and seeing each other, and that's like such a big part of the reason that you make it. You know, film brings people together, even just in the sense of like bringing everybody in a room to watch something together. It's really about connections, and I think that's like the biggest thing that I try to accomplish in any film that I'm making is like, how can we bring people together? And it's different depending on like, if it's a documentary project, you know, maybe we're trying to bring organizations together. If it's a personal project, maybe you're just trying to bring people together who are kind of like you. But I think it's all about like connecting people in both direct and indirect ways.
Okay. Especially, I mean, we're talking about this specific film, you know, in a context of this film has not yet seen the light, aka not a lot of people have had the time to see it and make a direct impact on them for that specific film. But something that, for example, has made a huge impact on us is that when we first were approached the idea to create this film, the 4 of us sat down in a room and were having a lot of trouble figuring out how to even define what food sovereignty was. And we have learned so much through the process to even realize, hey, yeah, this is an actual thing that's hugely important, but we've never really sat down and thought about it before. And I think that is what some people here said earlier, is that we tell other people's stories. There are so many hundreds and thousands and millions of different stories to be told. And just the act of filmmaking is just putting them to the spotlight so that, okay, food sovereignty is a thing. Now we know what it is. We have been educated in it. And through the process of this film, we're going to educate more people on it to not only highlight what's good about it, but what can change.
Thank you. How would you like to be remembered as you go along your path and you're getting towards that end? What would you like to leave behind? Thank you.
I think all of us up here would like to be remembered in a good way. You know, sure, we're human. We're all subject to mistakes. We all have our downfalls. We all have our weaknesses. But to be remembered as somebody that, you know, maybe the youth look up to, or even our peers, or, you know, somebody, you know, for the things that we do in our life, you know, I guess to kind of leave this earth, you know, just as the best person we can be, you know, to get up every morning and at least try. Our mother used to always tell us that if we don't give our people a chance, who's gonna? You know, so many times our people are so used to not having that helping hand there. And, you know, I try to live by the teachings that, you know, my parents, my grandparents left behind. And sometimes it's a little bit tough, but, you know, I think about it too, you know, our parents, they made life look so much easier than when here we are, you know. We're trying to do what they done, and they made it look easy, you know. And, you know, I hope one day, you know, when my children all grow and my grandchildren grow, you know, they're gonna remember me in a good way. And, you know, the things that I try to do in my life, the teachings that I try to pass down to them, you know. As we get older, the teachings become that much more important to pass down, and make sure that, you know, our culture, the things that we do today, will still be here tomorrow.
I guess it's my turn. I would like to leave the footprint and the impression that I was a person with no regrets. You know, let's start with the thing of like, this guy went to film school, which, you know, is not the most profitable career to be had out in the world. And yet I did it, and I don't have regrets for it. And I feel like that is something that has been so incredibly fulfilling, to do what I really love doing. And I think love is a huge part of me and my philosophy. And if I love something, if I love an idea, a project, or a person, I just go for it. And that is what I want people to remember me by, I think.
Incredible question. I'm 23, so it's a bit early for me to start thinking about my legacy, but I would love people to tell good stories about me and to pass on stories if I told them. And that's really all I can ask for at this point. Maybe, your answer was incredibly insightful. Maybe one day I'll reach that point. But right now, I just want to tell stories. So,
yeah, I just hope that I have love in my life and get to do the things that make me happy for as long as I can do them. And I hope to feel rather free on the day that I pass away into the next world. Yeah.
I've actually thought about this question a lot, and I think about it every day when I wake up and before I go to bed. I think as a Black person, I always think about how I will be remembered because I never know when my time is going to come. And it used to be from the lens of like, I did a lot of crazy things as a kid. And I was like, okay, this is maybe not the way I want to be remembered. And now it's through the lens of like, when I talk to people, when I show up at work, when I do my hobbies, when I like to say my life is kind of like a series of side quests right now. And so when I'm on a side quest, it's more so like I'm making sure I'm taken care of first. But I want to be remembered as someone who unlocks things for people. And it's not like a transaction type thing, but it's mostly I'm showing up the most secure in myself that without me doing extra work forces people to unlock themselves. So I want to be remembered as someone who always shows up fully.
I want to be remembered as a loving person, as a healer, as a writer, as a Black woman who takes risks, as a Black woman who enjoys showing up as her authentic self. I want to be remembered as a mentor for other Black folks to explore love in the healthy boundaries that exist within it and the healing capacity that it has. And that self-love is super important. And once we've invested in ourselves, then we can become, so there's a lot I talk about, selfishness and selflessness. Help people understand that you have to be selfish so that you can then be selfless. Because I also always say you can't pour from an empty cup. So all of these pieces, whether it's self-love or loving people out in your community, I want to be remembered as somebody who's a love warrior, who talks about these things whenever I have the chance.
Wow, that's nice. I think that, wow, that's a tough one, but I think that I'd like to be remembered as a clear storyteller, you know, someone who's left a book behind of stories that people understand and can identify with and are impacted by, and stories that people enjoyed. I'd like to be remembered as a risk taker, someone who sort of stepped out of the norm or comfort zones, creatively, you know, in terms of like who I choose to work with, or you know where I choose to be, and I hope to be remembered as part of a, you know, as a bridge builder, I think, as well. And I'd love to be remembered as a good father to my kids, because I think that that's like well, that's probably the main one, really. Yeah, this is a legacy that we're leaving behind to others to carry on, and so.
Thank you all so much, our panel, for being here, and you all for being here. I apologize that that was the last question. I didn't give you a warning, but I hope that you all can stick around for our mixer, talk to them some more. So I just had a couple things before I pass it over to you, Anton. One is that you're going to get your own live chemistry next week. We have one of our virtual poetry workshops. So please sign up. It's next Wednesday at 10 a.m. and we'll make sure you get the Zoom link. And they're just incredible. Chemistry just can unlock things that you did not think you were capable of. So we hope that we see some of you there. The second is that please check out our North Sound Voices, our channel. So we have, you can actually find it, we have little bookmarks on the table for you all, so please take them home and check out that link, and then you can listen to our podcast and watch some of the videos that we have made, and then that brings me to my next, which is we are going to be doing a series of screenings once we have a few more of our films. So I'm so excited to say more, but I can't yet. So just look out for that. We're going to have some really, really amazing stuff. You're going to be able to see the films that these folks are doing and more, and we just really appreciate your support. So I'm going to give it to Anton. Thank you very much.
So at this time, I'm going to call my kids, my grandchildren forward, and we're going to close out the day with a song. You know, it's customary that we usually start or end the day with a prayer. And the way I was told is that when you share a song and you have a prayer in your heart and your mind, it's like saying that prayer to the Creator God twice. You know, our songs, they have a language of its own, and you know, we're grateful to be here with you all today, and, you know, for your journey back home, wherever you're at, wherever you live, you know, we pray that the roadways are safe for you, and the place that you call home is all good. You know, it's the way you left it, and, you know, the ones that surround you day in and day out, you know, we ask for blessings come your way. So call my children forward, and we'll share a song.